Have you ever encountered a truth that seemed too uncomfortable or inconvenient to accept, yet persisted despite denial? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating phenomenon of overlooked realities and shed light on the hidden truths that lurk beneath the surface of our everyday lives. Let's dive in.
What is denied by many people, but it is actually 100% real?
Let's engage in a thoughtful discussion about the complexities of reality and the truths that shape our perceptions. Let's continue this exploration in the comments section.
People brush their teeth way less than they should.
And they floss even less than that.
That our memory is very fallible and does not work like a video camera.
Had a psychology professor in college prove this to the class once. Right in the middle of a lecture, someone opens the classroom door from outside. The professor looks at the guy, and the guy just slings something directly at the professor's head full speed. The professor says to the class, "Write down exactly what you just saw," and runs out of the class chasing the dude. He comes back and starts asking each person for information. We're all still concerned that he was just assaulted. Some folks said dude was short, some said tall. Some said he was wearing pants, others said shorts. One person even said the dude was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. He was actually wearing a plain white tee and cargo shorts. It eventually became apparent to us that it was all an experiment to prove eyewitness testimony is not always accurate. Pretty wild how different people's descriptions of the situation were. Keep that in mind when you hear news stories of how eyewitnesses know exactly what went down.
Every time you recall a memory, you're also changing it.
You have time to work out, you just don't want to.
One also has time to change their diet but doesn't want to. After my overweight dad passed away in 2022, I finally decided to change my diet and eliminate sugar in July 2023. At the time, I weighed 213 pounds, 6 feet tall. Since cleaning my diet up, I now weigh 175 pounds, and am currently wearing jeans that I haven't worn since 2016. When people ask me how I lost weight, their excitement immediately turns into disinterest when I tell them that I simply cleaned my diet up. It's almost as if they're hoping it's some magical diet of donuts and soda that they saw on TikTok.
I just worked on my portion control and shed almost 50 pounds, and I'm not talking about drastic, unhealthy moves. I'm still eating like 1,800 to 2,200 calories a day. But when you aren't thinking about how many servings are in that bag of chips, or your coffee that you put a shitload of cream and sugar in, you don't actually realize how many calories you're consuming.
The fact that most people have no idea what they're talking about.
Underrated as comment. This goes for online and IRL. To add to this, people are extremely pretentious and self-centered, some more than others. But there's so f***ing many you wouldn't be able to begin to imagine. And there's a reason the saying "no one is perfect" exists, because everyone has their flaws and hateable traits. Learn to live with that fact. Keep extremely shitty people out of your life. Keep people with good intentions around. As cliché as it sounds, it's the realest advice I'll ever give. People get so stuck on not being able to let bad people go out of their lives. Dump me if they are holding you back. Putting energy into people who hold you back sucks the life right out of you.
That cannabis does have negative side effects. It's not a magic cure-all drug, and that yes, you are addicted if you can't go a single 6 to 12 hours without ripping one.
I might get downvoted to oblivion for this, but the benefits of cannabis, except for pain, is significantly exaggerated and overblown. There are a lot of poor quality studies claiming it helps anxiety, depression, sleep, PTSD, etc. But all properly done studies show it is inconsistent. Small groups improve, small groups get worse, most remain about the same, or just bad. A lot of alternative treatment that is being pushed out there doesn't actually have good science backing them yet. Cannabis, psychedelics, etc. Except for ketamine, this has the most scientific rigor, showing strong evidence of positive outcome.
These comments are mind-blowing. It's crazy how so many people deny something that's 100% real. Let's keep going.
As someone struggling to quit weed, I agree. It helped with depression for a while, but eventually made it worse when I realized I've been complacently watching my life go by. I definitely think weed affects everyone differently though.
It's been legal federally in Canada for close to 6 years now, and one of the best parts is you don't hear nearly as much pseudoscience bullshit about weed being a magical panacea that literally cures every ailment and has zero drawbacks.
To add to this, as someone with cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, many people insist that you can't be allergic to cannabis. I went for a year and a half with excruciating stomach pains, in and out of doctor appointments. They couldn't find anything, no one had any idea what was wrong. My gastroenterologist suggested that maybe it was the weed, and I was like, nah, it can't be, that's not possible. I was a heavy smoker at the time, like many puffs throughout the day, going through like 3+1G vape cartridges a month, believing that the cannabis was helping my stomach. I had to stop for a job I took, and almost immediately started feeling better. Turns out my gastro was right, I'm allergic to cannabinoids. I apologized to her, and told her to use me as an example, because she said a lot of her patients react the same way I did when she suggests not smoking weed anymore. So if you smoke a lot, and have intense stomach pains, stop smoking for a while. You might be allergic to cannabinoids.
This is off topic and might not be the case with you, but have you ever gotten tested for sleep apnea? I used to be always tired, no matter how much sleep I got. Like literally every single night I could sleep for 9 or 10 hours straight and still be exhausted and feel like taking a nap the entire next day. Whether I smoked weed or not, I usually only smoke a couple times a month these days, but I was always tired regardless. I met my now husband and he commented on my snoring and pushed me to get a sleep study done. It's free to do, in Canada anyway. The sleep clinic just gives you this monitor thing, and you take it home and put it on and sleep as per usual. When I did it, I didn't feel any different when I woke up. It felt like I slept through the night without any difference, and I woke up the same way I always did. When the clinic called me a couple days later, they told me I tested 100% positive for sleep apnea. Apparently, I woke up from not breathing, on average 10 times an hour. And the longest I went without breathing at one point was 52 seconds, which is crazy. I don't think I could hold my breath for that long if I tried. I got a CPAP machine, and let me tell you, it is amazing. I wake up not tired now. I can go a whole day without dozing off or feeling like I need to nap. The difference is day and night. Although apparently it's more common in heavy-set men, I'm a 125 pounds woman in my early 30s, so it can truly affect anyone. Like I said, it might not be the case with you, but anytime I hear someone mention waking up tired regardless of sleep quality, I feel like I have to mention this. It's seriously changed my quality of life. Either way, hope you figure out how to feel well rested.
That the future is now. If you are able to reach elderly age and you get more dependent on your surroundings, is the current way the way you want in the future? Would that make you feel safe? If not, the time to make a change is now, in the area you want to grow old in. Not sure if many people think about that. I do, and try to change my life towards this goal. I want to feel safe when I'm old, alone or not.
That indigestion might be a symptom of a heart attack.
My father popped a ton of antacids for decades, thinking it was stomach acid. It turns out it was because he refused to take proper medications to prevent heart disease. He's at 4 heart attacks in the last 15 years, with the last one knocking him down to 25% heart function left.
I think you mean heartburn. Indigestion is a generalized term relating to gastrointestinal distress, which would include heartburn, but heartburn is a very specific feeling in the mid-lower chest. Heart attacks are often mistaken for heartburn, especially by people who commonly experience heartburn or GERD sufferers.
Ducks in parks are free of cost. You just can collect them.
Not really. Many municipalities actually purposefully bring in ducks, geese and swans. They are in fact owned by the local town/government.
Science. The amount of people who poo-poo science is fucking scary.
The actual amount of real good quality, long-term, replicable scientific studies though is pretty scary. The issue is everyone hears a headline or a narrative they agree with that says, study shows, and they take it as fact. Most of that science is garbage. Like self-reported social science studies, LOL.
That we don't live in a meritocracy. There is very little, if any, connection between the financial resources someone has acquired and the level of effort, work, or value to society. In other words, rich people did not earn it, and poor people didn't try less hard, or whatever. This fiction otherwise is one of the biggest drags on societal advancement in modern times. We don't have to try to fix it. But we should admit it, provide basic resources to everyone: food, shelter, education. There probably isn't any easier, lower-cost way to solve so many problems. Unfortunately, people just will not accept it.
I'm glad someone finally talked about this. It's frustrating when people refuse to believe the truth. Let's keep reading.
We are headed for an environmental collapse if we don't change our trajectory soon. Over 90% of the mammals in the world are either human or are domesticated. Wild animals are in the lower single digits. Bugs have been disappearing for decades. They are needed to pollinate and to feed bats and birds amongst other animals. There are little bits of plastic in everything, including us.
That going to the chiropractor is quack science. It's pseudoscience, and so many people are convinced it's really good for you.
Men suffering in silence.
Most people are okay with hate as long as the right people receive it.
Skinny privilege. Beauty privilege. Height privilege.
Man-made climate change. Yes, the climate has changed many times, but never even close to this fast. We are changing the composition of our planet's atmosphere at an alarming rate.
Cops very much have a quota for public interaction, e.g. pulling people over every month. You are more likely to get pulled over for ridiculously stupid shit at the end of the month from officers not managing their time well, or the beginning of the month from officers who wish to coast the whole month doing nothing.
American racism influenced Hitler. He saw it as inspirational the way the United States had taken the land from Native Americans and replaced them with white settlers. This was exactly what he wanted to do with the invasion of the Soviet Union. He also thought the treatment of non-whites by our government and civil groups, treating them as second-class citizens and not allowing them to vote via polls, tax, or tests, was also praised by him.
Misandry and how common/accepted it is in Western society right now.
It's absolutely socially acceptable to shit on men openly, but very much the opposite if you say anything negative about women. That said, gender wars are stupid. We have different challenges and privileges, but why the endless comparison over who has it worse?
The increasing instability of capitalism. When you bring it up, people just rant that communism failed, so capitalism wins and it can't possibly have anything wrong with it. You know, it's possible for communism to fail and for capitalism to also have serious problems with it. Those two things can be true at the same time.
Circumcising infants is by definition both mutilation and violating human rights. Denied all the time, yet it is very, very true. In 100 to 200 years they will look back and call it barbaric.
Drinking alcohol will give you cancer. The risk has been severely heightened by the WHO, the ones that beat smallpox, polio, TBC, and, oh that's right, COVID. And every time I post this, some idiots always chime in with, well, everything causes cancer, so what the hell does it matter if I party or not, fag? True, smoking tobacco is also unbelievably dumb, but doing both is a good way to get breast cancer and bowel cancer. It's a very expensive habit, cutting off breasts and parts of the digestive system.
Denial may provide temporary relief, but ultimately, embracing the truth leads to greater clarity and wisdom. Until next time, take care and subscribe to hear more stories like this.